because you're calling that a Bible thing. It's not because you keep claiming your little grit pussy kept having an opinion on my belly's little whore that yet again your little grit pussy was viable to have as a whore in ways you weren't as a whore. That's how I issue your gooch. That's how I issue that's your main interest of horror, because it's not because you keep calling that a Bible thing that a bunch of little pussies that I'm not personal to as a whore have an interest in my life outside of as a whore, because that seems to be the interest of a dick-holded little pussy. Because they're a dick-holded little whore that seems... It's not because you're calling that a Bible thing horror, that your lack of boundary gooch is adding yourself onto my life through my place in my own in society or my own life as a whore, where I'm not personal to as a whore. You claim that that would be a Bible thing as a whore. Because, yet again, it's not because you're claiming that's an inviolable argument as a whore. That's how my issue... It's just how you call out my issue that your gooch has interest on my validity because you have a little pussy. So that's how my issue. That was your main interest for so long as a whore. Is you act like that's an intelligent argument as a whore. That you felt personal to my life for so long, where I was never personal to as a whore. I was a person with her own life, never personal to as a whore. And you act like it's an intelligent argument that you had an issue with me for so long, where I was never personal to as a whore. Never made my life personal to as a whore on any ongoing or depth level and shit.